Well, it's another big SEC weekend. They're all big, and they're all against quality opponents, and that's certainly the case this weekend with Tennessee. Obviously, I think the thing that stands out with those guys is how they swing the bat. They're hitting 309 as a team, and the middle of their lineup is extremely dangerous. They're going to be obviously very well coached. They're going to throw three lefties at us, which with the amount of left-handed hitters we have in our lineup, that creates some challenges for us. And but it's a big weekend. Obviously, the home SEC games, the home SEC weekends are really, really big. You need to play well, and we've put ourselves in a pretty good position where we want to be from a competition standpoint, and we need to continue to play well to accomplish some of the things that we want to accomplish later in the year. It'll be a heck of a challenge this week against Tennessee. Hopefully there'll be a lot of excitement in our stadium with the spring football game going on Saturday, and good weather predicted. Don't think any rain's in the forecast, and we'll certainly need our fans and the atmosphere in our stadium to help us have a successful weekend. Certainly a big challenge in front of us, and but we're looking forward to playing at home. Seems like we hadn't had many series, obviously, at home from an SEC standpoint. This is going to be our second one, and our players are excited about that. So hopefully we can get off to a good start tomorrow with Clark Schmidt on the mound. But it'll be a heck of a challenge for Clark and the rest of our pitchers because these guys can really swing the bat.
Questions, please raise your hand. John.
You mentioned the lefties. Are you happy with your production against left-handed pitchers this year? I know Wyatt Short got y'all a little bit, and same with Bowden at Vanderbilt, but those guys are really good too.
Well, I mean, I hadn't dove into the numbers extremely too much because I don't want our players to be, thinking about it too much. Some of our lefties got to hit better against lefties. Some of our lefties are doing fine in the splits. So it's we've had some success against left-handed pitching this year. I mean, Wyatt Short and Bowden, they're very, very good. I don't think we struggled against them because they were left-handed. I think we struggled against them because they're two of the best pitchers in our league. But there's a couple. LT's struggled a little bit versus lefties, and he's got to do a little bit better. But Dom and Alex and those guys have been very, very competitive, and their numbers are pretty close. They've gotten some big hits versus left-handed pitching. I'm happy with our team offensively. We're hitting over 300. We've done some good things. Our strikeouts aren't off the chart. We've walked a lot. Got a good on-base percentage. I'd like to see us hit for a little bit more power and a few more extra base hits, but we're certainly in a better position right now than we were a year ago at this time. So we've got to do some things better, and it'll be a challenge against those guys from a lefty standpoint. But there's some righties I can put in there that I think are pretty good matchups for them as well.
Brian.
Speaking of Alex, how's he doing, and is he getting back to full health?
I don't know. I'm a little bit doubtful right now that he's going to be available. We'll see how he feels at practice today. I was hoping that he would have responded a little bit better than he has. But I do know that the shoulder injury is, it's a painful one for him, but everything's intact. All the reports have looked good. All the the scans and the tests and the X-rays and all that look great. So I think it's now a pain tolerance type issue, and hopefully the soreness will get out of there in the next 24, 48 hours, because obviously I have to make a decision before we exchange lineups tomorrow whether or not he'll be active or not. As of right now, I do not know. I'm a little bit less optimistic than I wanted to be.
Brad, and then Kevin.
For Dom Thompson-Williams, obviously he's putting up good numbers, but what's he like in the dugout, in the locker room with the guys? Is he leader on the team? Is that hard for a new guy to become a leader on the team? He seems pretty businesslike.
Right, and I think a lot of our new guys have been really good leaders. Dom's been that way from when he got here. He wants to win. He comes from a winning program. He's a very, very appreciative kid. He's very, a lot of kids, and I was like this when I was in college. You don't really appreciate it, all that you had, until it's gone or until you're done. And but he appreciates everything that he's been afforded every day. He's having the time of his life playing baseball here at South Carolina, so he's a joy to be around in the dugout. He just wants to learn. He just wants to help the team win. He pushes some guys to be better, and I think he's been He's not a senior, but he's provided great veteran leadership, and that's kind of rare because he's a first-year player here. But Dom and Jonesy and LT to an extent, a lot of those new guys have been great leaders, and Dom's certainly right up there with those guys. And he got the respect of our teammates, of all his teammates, because of how hard he works. And obviously, he's done some really good things for us. His play has obviously earned the respect of his teammates as well, because he certainly plays the game the right way. He's very, very competitive, and he came here because he wants to win and wants to make a difference. And thus far, halfway through the year, he's certainly done that.
Kevin and then David.
With Alex and that injury, is it an issue where it's going to be a bigger concern with him throwing the ball or swinging the bat or both?
Well, for me, I mean, we want him in there because we want his bat in there. I can always DH him. If he can hit, he can play for us. So I'm not worried that if he can't throw but can hit, he certainly is going to be fine for me. That being said, I'd like him to be able to throw too, because we can put another DH in there. When if Jones is catching. So. Right now it's just painful, and he hasn't done anything. He hasn't tried to throw. He hasn't swung the bat. So right now it's just painful, doing his exercises. So right now we just don't know. And but if he can swing the bat, he'll be active. If he can swing and he'll be active. If he can't, we'll shoot for next week.
And how is Josh Reagan doing now after the kidney stones?
He's doing well. I haven't heard anything. I wasn't here yesterday. I was recruiting, but Brainerd said he was doing very, very well, and look forward to seeing him today. I think he's fine, and with 2 days rest this week, I'm sure he'll be ready. He'll be ready to go tomorrow.
David.
Chad, in terms of Braden's last 2 starts, how uncommon is it for a true freshman to show that kind of sustained command? And is that just a sign of how comfortable he's gotten pitching at this level? I
hope that's the case. He's certainly been very dominant, and he's thrown very well, obviously, against 2 really good teams in tough environments. His stuff has always been impressive since he got here. The velocity on his fastball is elite. His breaking ball is one of the best breaking balls we've had here in a long time. He's got a great changeup. He has the whole arsenal, to be an All-American type, All-SEC type pitcher. The question with Braden going into this season was he going to be able to showcase all those pitches, because he's pitching ahead in the count and he's not walking everybody, and he's become more polished, because, obviously you can look at his stats and say that, his command has gotten away from him from time to time. But those last 2 starts, I think he's gotten comfortable. He's certainly been ahead of most hitters that he's faced, and if he wasn't ahead, his stuff kind of allowed him to wiggle out of some jams. He's a special talent who's in his last 2 starts has put it all together, and hopefully that bodes well for him going forward. But if he's in the strike zone, if he's working ahead of hitters, he's awfully tough to handle because his stuff is electric. And I think the last 2 times he really figured out that the pitching part is much more important than just rearing back and throwing as hard as he can. He's been trying to pitch, and it's been really, really neat to see his growth.
Derek.
Steady diet of left-handers from Tennessee this weekend. How does that impact your lineup? Any shifts from what we've seen so far this year? And with all your strongest bats being on that side of the ball.
Right. Well, I'm not gonna take all my best players out just because they're throwing a lot of lefties. But obviously Stokes is an important part of the weekend, just because of the way he's been swinging the bat, and he's been swinging it great in practice too. And obviously he's a threat, and we need another middle of the lineup right-handed bat in there to help out and protect, Jonesy and Dom and Destino if he's in there. So, outside of Jones outside of Stokes and Hopkins, I think those are the 2 right-handed bats that I don't know if I'm play on. I don't know if TJ will be in there every day, but he's certainly a bat that I feel good about putting in there against left-handed hitters. Left-handed pitchers, and but we'll see. I mean, right now I'm a little bit up in the air with who I'm going to catch tomorrow, just because of I don't know Destino's situation. So, and who I catch obviously depends on who I DH, and do I DH Stokes or do I play him in the field? Because I think he's ready to go to play in the field now from a health standpoint. There's a lot of questions I got to answer between now and tomorrow night. But Stokes and Hopkins gives me the flexibility to make my lineup a little bit more dominant from a right-handed standpoint and give us some more balance.
Brian.
Are you pleased with the progression of Adam Hill into that Sunday start? Are you starting to get more comfortable with him in that role?
Well, Adam's done well, and I think that these last 2 starts, I think he'd be the first to tell you he probably hadn't thrown as well as he had hoped. His command's been a little bit shaky, not from how many he's walked standpoint, but just Coach Myers called a fastball in, he's thrown a strike on a fastball away, those kind of things. And but when he's locked in and he's hitting his spots, he's awfully difficult. And I think he will. I have the utmost confidence in Adam. He's done well for us and pitched well and shown me a competitive spirit and a competitive nature that I didn't know he had. It's not like I thought he didn't have it. It's just I hadn't seen it in against SEC play. And so I'm very comfortable giving him the ball. I think he's going to give us a chance to win each and every time we give him the ball because he's got good stuff. He competes. He bows his neck out there when he needs to bow his neck, and he makes some big pitches when some people are out there. So I've liked what I've seen from his development standpoint in the way that he's grown into pitching against SEC hitters. So, but I think that being said, I think he can do a lot better, and I think you'll see him get better the more comfortable that he gets out there.
John.
What's the biggest change in Gene from last year to this year?
Well, I think Gene's a little bit more confident, and he's. I think that Gene sees himself as a guy that's been through the rigors of this league, and that he can lean and he can show and lead the way, and his teammates can learn from him. He's comfortable in these battles. He's comfortable playing Vanderbilt and Ole Miss and LSU's. He's been in those, in those battles. So I think he's one of those guys in the lineup that's not in awe of playing an SEC schedule. I think the players and his teammates understand that and know that, and I think that he's just playing the way that he's capable of playing. And we've seen spurts out of Gene here, and last year he did fine, but I think he'll be the first to tell you he can hit higher than 250 around what he hit. And now I think he's settling into a role. He knows he belongs here. He knows that he's one of our better players, and he's just a very confident player right now. And I think his confidence came and went a little bit last year from time to time. But I think he's in a really good place. He's worked hard in the weight room, and Gene's a skinny guy, and he's not the strongest kid on our team, but I think he's understood that he needs to put a lot of time and effort in the weight room, and so he doesn't wear down toward the end of the year, and he's done that, and Gene can do a lot of things for us. He can bunt. He gets all the signals. He throws the ball the right bases when he's in the outfield. He's a very solid defender. He's just a very good baseball player. Not the most talented kid on our team, but a very, very polished player. And it's good to see him kind of put it all together.
Other questions for Coach?
All right,
Thank you,
thank
Coach.
you, guys.
Thank you, guys.